Hey everyone, what does it take to lose your job, pivot to a brand new industry, and still come out thriving in the world of insurance adjusting? Today we're talking to my good friend Ryan Sorenson, a Texas family man who turned a career layoff into an opportunity to build a future in adjusting, all while facing the pressure of a growing family and months without a paycheck. Hi guys, welcome to the Adjuster Coach podcast. I'm your host, Pablo Gonzalez, adjusting career coach and founder of the Adjuster Coach. This podcast is here to help you level up your skills, your mindset, and your career in the world of independent adjusting. If you enjoy this show, please don't forget to follow, subscribe, and leave a review on your favorite podcasting platform. It helps more adjusters discover the content and grow alongside you. Well, Ryan, thank you so much for being here, man. Really appreciate you coming and talking about your journey and your and how you're doing with adjusting. So go ahead, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background.
Sure. Thank you so much for inviting me on. I know we've
Absolutely.
been trying to make this happen, and now's the day.
That's
My
right.
name, my name is Ryan Sorenson, and I'm with Big Tex Adjusting. It's my company, and I've been adjusting now for a couple of years. Started in 2023, and that was an intentional start. I've been looking into getting involved with adjusting. My background prior to that has been in healthcare. I graduated with a bachelor's in health science, and then I moved into the realm of cardiovascular rehabilitation therapy. So I
Wow.
worked about 9 years helping
Wow.
patients after having cardiovascular
Mhm.
surgeries, after heart attack, after heart
Wow.
replacements,
Wow.
any type of procedure with the heart. I
Hmm.
would work with them, much like a physical therapist will work with someone after an injury or a
Hmm.
surgery, let's say a shoulder or knee, what have you. I would work with a patient related to their heart,
Hmm.
and I really liked that. The what I liked was serving someone,
That's
helping
beautiful.
somebody, and that's what fulfilled me,
Hmm.
helping that person move from um, a hurt stage or a debilitated stage to a more whole stage.
Hmm.
And during that process, there were certain things that caused me want to look for a change in career,
Hmm.
not because of the what I did, but because of the changes in life, changes such as getting married, wanting to settle down, and we could probably talk more about that later. But
Yep.
uh, I looked to get involved with a change in career, and I found adjusting. And in 2023, I took that jump, got into adjusting, and haven't looked back since.
Yep.
Um, I made a full transition into adjusting in that world. I've been doing that now for 2 years. A lot of different variety so far in adjusting, and I see that adjusting allows me a wide net of opportunities to work in, and I have a pathway to make that happen if I apply myself.
Yeah.
So that's
And it's interesting because I remember when we first talked a couple of years back when I was working for Adjuster Pro and you called and you were asking questions. I want to get into this. Right away I could tell that you really do enjoy serving people.
mm,
And I'm always constantly telling that's probably one of the best parts about adjusting. Let's face it, you have a family, I have a family. We like the paychecks. I get it. But I think one of the great things about adjusting is this ability to be a servant, to serve people in a pretty difficult time. And sometimes, it's a fence, some landscaping, a little piece of your tree, maybe a window or two, like it happened to us during Hurricane Helene. It wasn't major damage, but it's still a stressful situation. And you get to come in and help people, put their lives back together. And I could tell right off the bat that, based on what you had told me about your experience in the healthcare field, that's something that you really enjoy. You really enjoy serving.
that's right, and it's neat because you talked a lot about customer service, and there's a lot of things that make an adjuster, and everyone has their thing, their
Hmm.
piece of the pie that they can contribute to that whole piece.
Yep.
or the piece of the puzzle, you can say.
Hmm.
Uh, my piece that I bring to it is connecting with a person and being empathetic, connecting with a person and wanting to help. I want to help you. I want to provide you a service, and I want to serve you, and that's something that I enjoy doing. Mm.
That's great, man. Yeah, no, I could tell right off the bat when we were talking how you just spoke about, your health industry background and how you love serving people. Now, tell me a little bit about why you transitioned. If I understand correctly, I think there was some sort of layoffs or things going on in the
Yeah,
industry, and then
that's
you
right.
were like, I'm married. Were you guys expecting at the time, or did you already have a child? Tell me about what went through, during that time.
Sure. Well, all of this was preceded by a limitation in my career pathway.
Mm,
Once I became uh, cardiovascular rehabilitation therapist, I realized that that was the highest level of achievement I could reach.
that was the peak.
That was the peak, and there all it took schooling, it took a certification, and then of course I had to get into and get some experience doing an internship, and then I was top dog, you could say. Obviously,
Wow.
there's in terms of climbing the career ladder,
Sure.
there would be no other position unless maybe I became a supervisor or manager. But those positions were always provided by somebody else, somebody that
Hmm.
had maybe an MBA or
Right.
a higher degree than I did.
And that's what I was going to say also. So it probably would have required quite a bit of additional schooling for you.
It would require additional schooling, and even at that, in a hospital setting, individuals that have a different style or different type of skill set, such as nursing or something else even higher than what I have,
Hmm.
would, along with something else like MBA or something adjunct to that, would be able to fill a higher position, such as a managerial position, a director's position, and none of those things would apply to me. So
Yep.
basically, only thing I could do is maybe jump around trying to find a slightly higher paying job based on my years of experience.
Hmm.
Now, that aside, what I would find is that my position would from time to time be terminated based on changes in dynamics,
Hmm.
new in the healthcare field.
Hmm.
Some new technology would come in, and there would be a new therapy instead of a therapy for the heart.
Yeah.
New doctors would come in, and they would want some other type of therapy that
Hmm.
a rep came in and wants to present to the doctors that help provide them, allow them maybe to get more money, and they promote a new idea, and the doctors get a better benefit out of it, and the hospital receives better benefits and monetarily, and so they get rid of my position so they can promote a new technology. So, and
Interesting.
it's,
I didn't realize that. Interesting.
it's not uncommon. For example, I, it might be one technology may be contact lenses, we'll say, but a new technology may be have a laser surgery. Now you don't have to
Mm.
use contacts; you have a new technology.
Yeah.
So you get rid of you get rid of all of your contact you know
Yeah.
people
You're
who
no
you
longer buying contact lenses because you have,
exactly.
LASIK done to your eyes. Right. Right.
And so that's a
Interesting.
very simple example. But what
Hmm.
ended up happening is that I would find that my position would become obsolete. So in order for me to be, since it was such a neat niche position, I would
Hmm.
have to uproot myself and go to really another city, another large city in Texas, in order to find a position for myself. And eventually, it got to a point where I thought, if I, now that I'm married, if I'm going to continue providing for my family, and the future is going to look like I'm going to have to continue looking for more work down the road.
Hmm.
So after 3 rounds of finding a job, then getting laid off, finding another job, getting laid off,
Oh,
finding a job, and getting laid off,
wow.
over a period of about I don't know 9 years, I realized that it's not things like that happen.
Yeah.
I realize that this is more of a trend because I've been hearing a lot of it when going to industry conferences and things. I realized I just need to change careers.
Hmm.
So prior to my last layoff, I already saw things coming. I'd already gone through this layoff process many times before, or a few times before, and I
Hmm.
just seen the writing on the wall. It was
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah.
So I started my homework early, and I started looking around for a change in career. I got onto the U.S. Website of occupations, whatever it was,
Is
U.S.
it the Labor Department or something
It's some
like
sort
that?
of department, U.S. Department of Occupations,
Oh, okay.
and it has every occupation in the entire U.S. I mean, it's so exhaustive. And I started narrowing down based on skills I have, or natural abilities I have, based on interests I have, and it just kept narrowing and narrowing and narrowing and narrowing, and eventually I stumbled upon something called adjusting, insurance adjusting, and that narrowed me down even further to Texas Department of Insurance, which helped me file down as to what would it is to be a licensed adjuster in the state of Texas.
Hmm.
I read up and studied about that. Interestingly, it
Hmm.
let me know that there are certain entities that provide education become licensed.
Hmm.
And through that entity, I was able to be connected to an organization that you were a part of, that allowed
Hmm.
me to become educated to be eventually to take a licensing exam. That's how we met.
Yep, that's right. And I remember you calling in because, a lot of times, especially for states like Texas, whether it's Adjuster Pro, and there's other firms out there that do it, but obviously at the time I was working for Adjuster Pro, and I still sell Adjuster Pro courses, but it's like, yeah, Ryan, the course replaces the state exam, and people are like, what? You know, and so there is a final exam in the course, but you pretty much did everything online. You took your test, then you did your fingerprints at TDI, and you got your license. So was that something? And again, I know you called, and I had a career consultation with you. I gave you a ton of information. I believe you went to one of my webinars. I commend you because you did everything that I recommend people do. Whereas I follow up with people all the time, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. I only applied to one company and all that." So I commend you because you did a lot of research before you educated yourself. What are the type of things about adjusting that obviously you needed to get a license, but I just kind of like you're thinking like, this might be a good fit for me. What,
Sure.
coming from where you were coming from.
So I like this pathway because it didn't require me to have to go to back to school. That's very important. I'll take a moment to explain that.
Hmm.
My situation, in order for me to go back to school, would have almost indefinitely would require me to for give up a paying job because to go through an entire program, a master's degree, or go to a
Yep.
technical college, I
Yep.
would have dedicated almost a full 40 hours. Most classes were during the day or require even if it's online, require a tremendous amount of time.
Hmm.
At that moment, my wife was pregnant, and um, not to say that I couldn't have handled things. I just know that just based on the dynamics of the family, uh, her getting ready to deliver or getting prepared to deliver kids, we had just bought a house. I wasn't interested in trying to manage a whole bunch of new things. A new house we bought just a couple of months before, her getting close to delivery, starting to have a new baby, then
Yeah.
start school, and knowing that pretty soon my job was going to get cut,
Yeah.
and then having to start looking for a new job while going to school full time. I didn't want any of that.
Yeah. And by the
And
way, can you tell me a little bit about the costs of that school?
oh,
Like.
I looked at here's absolutely. I did the math on that. It's ridiculous. It was ridiculous. So no matter how I crunched the numbers, the amount of money that I would be spending versus the amount of money I would be making or adjustments I would be having to make.
Hmm.
and the future and the payoffs I would have made from making an improved salary
Yep.
or making an adjustment in salary would have taken so many more years for me to
Hmm.
just break even
Wow.
that it would not have been worth the stress it would have been on me
Hmm.
and the time investment to go to back to school. It
Wow.
just would not, just for the stress and investment of loan of time, would not have been worth it.
Wow. I
If I
mean,
wanted,
perfectly articulated. Thank you so much. And this is something that I talk to people. And look, I have 2 degrees, and they look great on my wall, and they've opened a lot of doors for me. But if I could do it all over again, I'll be honest with you, maybe I would have one if I knew when I started college about insurance adjusting. And I'm not saying that this is for everybody, but the investment and the trade off as far as how, say you got your MBA, you got that master's, how quickly are you going to start earning considerably in order to pay off that investment and then make the extra money, as you said, because now you got a house, you're married, there's a baby on the way, those type of things. And not that there isn't an investment to adjusting, there sure is, but I think the ROI, the return on investment, is just a lot greater in this industry. Wow, that's a great way of putting it. Thank you for saying that. So,
well, before
oh,
we
go ahead.
move on, I do want to mention an alternative to that, though. There is no harm, and there is a long term benefit in going to school, going for a higher education. However, that it is hard sometimes for the average person to be monetarily compensated to the
Hmm.
same degree.
Hmm.
Um, However, the benefit of having a higher education in and of itself is by just by itself a great value
That's
in
right.
that alone, but it's not often a monetary value.
Hmm.
So
I
go on
agree.
with your next question.
Yeah. So I was gonna ask you. So you're kind of seeing the writing on the wall. There's been 2 layoffs. And then now you're on year 9. You can see that there's another one coming, and got a house, got a baby on the way. Layoff. Did you start your journey into adjusting? This is what I don't remember because I know you were. It was almost like 8 months without working. Was
That's
it something
right.
like? Yeah, I think I remember that. Did you start your journey into adjusting before the layoff, or once you got laid off, you're like, "This is it. I got to jump into this." I don't remember those details, but talk a little bit about that.
So the way I remember it is I we met each other either uh, 1 month or 2 months before the layoff. Actually, I was told
Hmm.
I was laid off,
Hmm.
and I started the process. I believe I started. I think I started the process. I started. Yeah, that's right. I remember because I started the process uh, uh, about just getting started with
With the
starting
licensing.
the licensing and everything. And
Yep.
it's a process.
Yeah, it
Then I
is.
was
That's right.
then I was laid off. That allowed me opportunity to complete all my online courses, do my studying. Um, that allowed during my layoff period, and I made a decision during that layoff period not to seek out other job opportunities. I was fully committed at that point to get my licensure, to do any additional trainings, to study up on what it is to be an adjuster. And then I took that time to start networking. And then I took that time to start. I got a license at that point, and that was in November. So I got laid off in August, September, October, November. 3 months. So 3 months
Hmm.
had passed by, and I was really feeling on top of the world. I was feeling the momentum. I was feeling the momentum. I was taking my exams. I was getting a lot of traction moving forward, but no money.
Right.
But you know
Right.
what? That's fine. That's fine. My wife is close to delivering. Um, she's doing well. All this momentum, things are building up. Then I got my license. So then I started applying for jobs. Now I started applying for anything that I could do in adjusting. I
Hmm.
didn't get any work, but that's
Hmm.
okay. So then I
So
started. I
before
reached out.
let's leave a cliffhanger there as we're
Okay.
gonna go through our give props to our first sponsor. We're gonna cut the break real quick, but that is a great cliffhanger right there. Uh, and so let's give props to our first sponsor of today's podcast. Hey everyone. So as you know, I just started this podcast and I'm really excited about the conversation we're having here. The industry is actively looking for quality, not quantity. And so I just want to let you know that I work with adjusters one-on-one, coaching them through my site, theadjustercoach.co. I've been in some aspect of the insurance industry over 25 years, and in that time, I've helped license over 12,000 individuals. But here's what I've learned. Just getting a license is only the first step. I help folks look after that to building a resume, getting connected with the right IA firms, and figuring out the best training for where you want to go. My goal is to help you to get working faster with more confidence and to be there to keep you on track. If that sounds like something you need, check out theadjustercoach.co. You'll find all the information there on coaching calls, resume help, and more. Again, that's theadjustercoach.co. If you've already gotten your adjuster's license, but you're stuck wondering how to actually get work, check out IA Path. They created this experience-free career path for independent adjusters so you can get trained, certified, and actually land work even without experience or having to wait for the next hurricane. Over 50 IA firms waive the experience requirement for IA Path grads. It's not just a course, it's a career launching system. Start your journey at www.iapath.com and use the discount code Pablo at checkout. It's a great career and it's a great company that's going to fully train you to hit the ground running and avoid that experience requirement. All right, guys, we're back with Ryan. He left us on a cliffhanger, wife about to have a baby, being laid off, studying for your exams. Did you also train for Xactimate, or did you
I did.
focus? Okay, great.
I did.
And then you said you were not working, but you were getting a few wins here and there, trying to get educated on the industry, trying to really understand how to do the job. Tell us a little bit about that. That was great stuff, man.
So I was able to. I remember up to that point I mentioned, up to that cliffhanger, I was doing everything that you had told me to do, which was get my education and training in Xactimate, get my certification, and get my licensure for my home state, and there were other items specific. I'm sure you've talked about these on your podcasts, but up to that point, everything was going great, and when I got my my license for the state of Texas, I was so pumped. I was like, I can now start applying. I thought all the doors in the world have opened up to me now. That's what I thought.
I love it.
Basically what I did is I got on every job board and I said, I've got a Texas state, adjuster's license.
Yeah.
And even better, I thought, because it said all lines. The authority I had was all lines authority.
Yeah, that's right.
That meant I could do everything. And so on my resume, I blasted with all kinds of things. I was trained in this. I've been trained in this. I did Adjuster Pro training. I did so many hours of this. I did so many training. I even got trained on how to adjust airplanes. And I can do it all. And I started applying everywhere. I got no results.
Mm-hmm.
I had no experience.
Yeah.
I had none. Well, my wife was delivered by that time. And so I was
just kind of curious, boy or girl?
Boy, absolutely.
Firstborn a boy, yeah.
Yeah, and that was great. That was a super exciting moment for us too.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I'm still really on this high. I'm on this high. But everything, like with everything, there's a moment where everything just hits and reality hits. And the reality was all of my colleagues that I was working with that got laid off are now all of them have gotten jobs now.
Yeah. In the healthcare industry.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
And then there are other opportunities, and
Yeah.
they've gotten jobs,
Hmm.
and it's been now what 4 months now, and
Mm.
I don't have a job. I have a kid. I still have that house payment, and I'm getting a lot of no's from all the
Yeah.
people I've applied to, um, a- and I have no experience.
Hmm.
So all of these doubts and all of these concerns, 4 months is a long time. How much longer are we going to go without me getting
Hmm.
work?
Hmm.
I reached back out to you and I said, hey, I've done the things you told me to do. I've gotten on rosters. I've done the different things you've told me to do. I don't have work. Where do I go from here? What
Yep.
do I do?
Yep.
And you
Yep.
told me you gotta network. You
Yep.
got to network. And I said, and I started that. I
Yep.
LinkedIn. I
Yeah.
started.
And one of the important things about networking, and I don't mean to cut you off, Ryan, but one of the important things about network that I tell people all the time is give up your time and try and shadow somebody right along with someone. Um, and maybe you can speak to that because I know that kind of was like the what turned the tide for you when you found Scott and you started doing that. What I think you shadowed him for a little bit. How did
It
that
actually
work?
was that person I shot. It was Chris Cox.
I'm sorry, Chris. My bad.
Yeah, that's
Chris.
right.
Yes.
That's right.
I'm
So the
sorry.
one I went out to go shadow with was Chris. Chris
Yeah.
Cox is the one that you,
Yeah.
interestingly, he had been in contact with you at the same time I had been in contact with you. Chris Cox had been operating and doing daily claims in Michigan. And about that time, he had contacted you and say, "Hey, is there anybody that would be interested in shadowing? Because he has a heart to train others." At that time, I had contacted you and say, I'm doing everything. I've even been networking now." And I
Hmm.
called you again. I said, I still would need some more assistance. Can you connect me with your network? And I
Hmm.
asked that. I was bold enough to say,
Yep.
I'm going to tap into you, Pablo. That's
Hmm.
basically what I was saying.
Yeah.
And
And
I don't
look, it
remember.
was
Tell me what happened then. You have to fill in the details.
yeah, I mean, it's funny because Chris is like, hey, if you know anybody that can do the job but doesn't have experience but wants to learn how to do it, and I don't know what your arrangement with him was, but now what he tells me is I'll pay room and board for a couple of weeks. That's what I can do. Like they can stay where with us and I'll feed them. I'm not going to pay them, but I'll show them how to do everything. And if they work out, then I can help them find work. But at that time, he was like, "Do you know anybody who might fit into this where they got all their all their ducks in a row, but they haven't had any success, and you think that they would do well in this industry?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know this one guy who constantly stays in touch with me, constantly keeps moving forward because that's what I tell people. You're not getting adjusting work. You're just not going to be like, okay, I'm not getting adjust. No, learn, educate yourself. There's so much free information out there on the internet. You can get another certification. You can get a New York license. You can, locally look at independent adjusting firms and see, hey, can I shadow a guy? Can I ride along with it? And then, so I saw you were not only committed, but you were like, you were energetic. You like, yeah, I really want to do this. I really can do this. And I thought it was a good fit. And I put you guys in touch together. And I still remember him, telling me, that, it was a great experience for both of you.
Hmm.
Because he was so, and I still remember you sending me pictures. You like measuring the kitchen. You were doing, like as you progressed, and I'm pretty sure that he saw that excitement, as far as you being, all in. But tell me, so I put you in touch with Chris, and then what happens?
And that was the game changer. That immediately I jumped on that. I called him up and I told him I'm ready to go. And I said, "What do you need? I can get there. When do you need me to be there?" And he was almost like, "Hey, just calm down a little bit. You don't have to leave right now." I was literally rushing on my way to the store to pick up a tool belt, to pick up a this and that and that. He said, "It's all right. Just take enough time to get the items you need and get up here safely." And I can be there tomorrow morning.
That's awesome.
Um,
I love it. I love it.
I jumped right onto that, and he showed me the ropes. I ended up staying there for 5 weeks.
Wow.
He was very generous with his time to me,
Hmm.
and I I showed my appreciation right off the bat, and as anyone who does this, I want someone who is in my who would want to follow my example, learn and understand that we have to be accommodating and show um, to someone who's being hospitable to us. We have to be show respect,
Yep.
and we have to show gratitude.
Yep.
We don't go there to take from them. The only thing we're there to do is to learn,
That's
to
right.
to show gratitude,
Yeah.
and not to be a disturbance to anyone.
Yeah. And I don't know, as your career has progressed, I don't know if you've seen this, but one of the things that I absolutely love about adjusters in general is most of them are very generous. Peer to peer teaching is like, I mean, besides Chris, I have another good buddy of mine. His name is Patrick. He's going to be in the podcast later on. But he has four brothers. He got them all in. Then their friends, he got them all in. And what he would do is he would bring them along. And
Yeah.
actually, once he saw that they could do like in other words, like he saw that they had a lot of potential and they were doing well, he started making arrangements with different IA firms to say, I have a team.
Yes.
And so those guys started learning. Then they started learning and making money. But this is this generosity from accomplished adjusters that I just love to hear about that in this industry.
It's
So
true.
tell me this. So 5 weeks with Chris, right? When do you start, making the adjuster money? When do you go into the role, and how did
Sure.
that look like? Where did you go? I don't want specifics about how much money you made. I'm just talking
Yeah.
about like really like,
So
okay, so
the
go ahead.
my wife had told me had been helping, and the big thing is that if you're going to do this, get as much assistance from others as you can,
Hmm.
because to totally jump ship and from one career into another, or go at it all by yourself, I don't feel that this will be successful for anyone. Having mentors, having networks, this is the way to go.
Hmm.
Um, so one of my someone who's also able to help me and provide assistance was my wife, and other family members. My wife, and for one example, she saw that there was a training opportunity with one company, one judge adjusting firm,
Hmm.
and it was
It's okay if we give him a shout out. Who was it?
sure, it was with Crawford.
Well, nice,
So,
great,
and
great
I've worked with,
company, great
yeah, and
company.
I've definitely worked with Crawford, and this is what happened. I went out with Crawford to that training, and I was hesitant at first. I had just come back from Michigan working with Chris, and I didn't want to pay whatever the cost was for me because I looked at what they were going to be training on. I said,
Yeah.
I already know all of these things, honey.
Hmm.
And my wife said, but you can maybe get in well with this company, get
Wow,
to know
your
more people.
wife, very wise words
You
from
know
your
what
wife.
happened? I did those 5 days of training, and on that fifth day, they offered me a position there on the spot.
Oh, that's
On the
awesome.
spot.
Oh,
They
that's
said I.
awesome.
They said that I was a rock star. They were looking exactly for someone that like me
Beautiful.
to join in. Why? It was both. It was both good timing. It was
Uh huh.
luck, but it
Hmm.
was because I was there and present. I wasn't just sitting at home
Hmm.
wondering when work would come to me.
Yep.
There was some big storms happening, and they were ready to. They were revving up,
That's
and
incredible.
and I was showing up. I was at a training, but they said, "Hey, we like you. You're here. Why don't you just start working for us?"
You're like, okay.
Absolutely.
And it's interesting because, again, if we kind of reflect back a little bit on what a master's costs and going to get all that additional training, right? And I tell people all the time, and in fact, you were with, I saw you at NACA, and
Hmm.
every time I spoke to the adjusting firms at NACA, they would say the same thing. Hey, we don't want new adjusters calling us like, what do I need to, how do I get work from you guys? We want them to say, what are the trainings that you provide that are going to help me get work from you guys? And oftentimes someone will say, 5 days. And I don't know how much that training was, but let's say it's, like $800. And then obviously you got to get there. and obviously you want to sleep and eat, you know. But I tell people all the time, it is, because this industry is not 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, it doesn't hire the same way. That's an opportunity for your informal interviewing. They're helping you get through training, but they're checking you out. Like, does this guy have what it takes? Does he have a great disposition? Does he have good customer service skills? Is he asking the right questions? And so sometimes people kind of balk. In fact, you just even mentioned it. You're like, oh, why am I going to do that? Because it'll get you work. And I cannot tell you how many times I've heard this story where I went to this training, and from that training, they told me, can you be at this place in 48 hours so you can start handling claims from us? That's fantastic. So you go to Crawford, and on day 5, they're like, dude, you're a rock star. We want you. What happens from there?
Well, one thing that happened is that I start getting paid more than I would have if I had a master's degree right off the bat. That's for sure. Um, but yeah, I tell you what, I wasn't expecting or ready to handle um, the things that I had to do. I
Hmm.
had to get help from other adjusters around me.
Sure.
But I had the foundations that
Mm.
what I to be able to do the actual core of that work. I was
Hmm.
able to do that because I had the training from Chris. I had exactly what I needed to do. The technical skills of how to do it how to do
Yeah.
it with in terms of the process
Yep.
for that particular company, the operational components, how they want the package to be wrapped up and the bow put on it.
Yeah. The digital paperwork. That's what I
That's
call it.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Digital paperwork, I didn't know, but
Yep.
that's okay. I mean, I was halfway there because
Yep.
Chris showed me. What ended up happening is I've gone to do other work with other companies, and I've come back, or other
Hmm.
agencies, and I've come back with Crawford. And this year I've worked with Crawford, and I tell you what, I'm so much better because I've had a foundation. I've had an initial experience, and then I've come back and I've been so much better because that's the progression. You
Yeah.
start off as like a baby, and you learn how to walk from crawl.
Professional growth. I love it. I love it, man. All right, we're gonna stop there, and we're gonna give a shout out to our next sponsor, and we're gonna get back and wrap up things with Ryan. Thank you, Ryan. Guys, we'll be right back. This episode is brought to you by Open Road Coffee, proudly based in the mountains of Columbus, North Carolina, built on a foundation of premium, organically grown farmer direct beans and a commitment to extraordinary customer service. Open Road Coffee Roastery backs their products with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. My good friend over there, Stan Yoder, he's the founder. He's known for his meticulous approach to coffee, which I think is code for obsessive. We say he actually talks to the beans. But all kidding aside, guys, the coffee is fantastic. And after Hurricane Helene caused damage to his home and the business, there was actually a sinkhole at the shop. Stan still had the roastery back up running in just a few days, serving the local community, adjusters, first responders. It is just a great place to get coffee. And as a thank you to our listeners, if you go to openroadcoffeeroastery.com, openroadcoffeeroastery.com, they'll take 10% off your next order by using the code CAFE, CAFE. I know it's a long name, but openroadcoffeeroastery.com. And you can use that code CAFE, CAFE, for 10% off. So grab a cup, support a great business, and enjoy the journey. Fuel it with Open Road Coffee. Well, wonderful. We're back with Ryan and talking about his journey as an adjuster. So I'm telling you, man, you knocked it out of the park. You listened to me, you got your license, you got software trained, you applied everywhere, you network. Then you came back to me saying, look, I've done everything. What else can I do? Well, you found somebody that you can shadow right along. Then you went and you did in-house training at a IA firm with Crawford, who on those 5 days, they saw, again, that informal interview that I talk about, they saw how great you were and they gave you that opportunity. And you've been, like you said, you've gone to other companies, you've come back, which is, typical of independent adjusters, that, I mean, recently I was talking to a VP of one of the independent adjusting firms, and he said, "We'd love for you to always work with us, but we understand you got to feed your family. And so if, things are kind of slow with us and then there's another company offering you maybe daily claims or those type of things, different ways of bringing in income as an adjuster, by all means, go and feed your family." So let's just touch a little bit on the types of adjusting roles that you have worked in. So I believe you've done field, have you done desk adjusting?
Yes. Yes,
And
sir.
then I think you've done cat. Have you done dailies? I wasn't
Yes,
sure if you
sir.
had. Okay. And then now you're doing like a loss prevention or something like that.
That is correct.
Yeah, until that next hurricane shows up.
That's right. That's right.
So tell me a little bit about the different types of roles.
Absolutely. So the desk is where I started with my first work, and that is handling everything from a desk, basically working a claim from a phone and with the computer, but not seeing the damages on
Hmm.
site. Uh, However, seeing things via photographs,
Hmm.
and so that can, for me, that basically meant making contact with the customer who's filing the claim, getting the details that I needed from the customer, discussing things with the contractor, getting images that were obtained via a photo package by a third party inspector and take photographs, and then reviewing those photos and composing an estimate of
Hmm.
repairs,
Hmm.
and then uh, going through the settlement and writing out a check for that individual. Um, that's that. The benefits of that I found is that I get to work in an office setting around other adjusters that are nearby, actually right and left of me. So that way I can, if I have questions, I can ask.
You could just
Others
get
have
up and go to the guy next to you and be like, "Hey, this policy, can you help me out here?"
exactly,
Yeah.
and then I get the benefit of learning from others. There's additional benefit I've had is that it's in just an environment where surrounded by other people, and so there's
Hmm.
especially when a tremendous amount of work. There's that energy, like there's getting so many claims or having so much stuff, and it's like this chaotic craziness, but it's also it feeds an energy of for me almost excitement. I mean, we've got so much going on, we're all
Hmm.
busy, we're doing hours and hours of work, and um it's an energetic, it's not chaos, but it's almost like a, I don't want to say team unity, but everyone is in it together,
Hmm.
and it's almost like if someone farts, the whole room starts laughing, you know.
I love that. That's awesome.
So there's that
It's
binding
like
energy.
camaraderie, We're
Yes.
we're in this together, teamwork. I love it, man.
Yeah, so it's we're all in it together, whether good or bad. We're all in it together, and it's that energy, and so I liked that as well. And I would definitely prefer that versus just being in an isolated room working on a computer all by myself,
Hmm.
and that's because I'm more outgoing than
Hmm.
just isolated or introverted.
Sure.
I've worked in catastrophe as a catastrophe adjuster, which I also found was wonderful
Hmm.
because it requires a lot of problem solving. How am I going to get to this person's house if the entire roadway is destroyed and I can't even get to it?
That's
Um,
right.
and there's a lot of thrill. Like
Hmm.
I've got to get here, but the whole city is blocked off.
Yeah.
Uh, I've got to get there, but I've got to get through these two towns, and I'm on empty. But baby, I'm gonna try it anyway. You know, and I
You can
can't.
never trust that gauge in the car. At least like the later model cars, we have a 2019 van and it's like the little light will be on, things like that. And my wife like, "You're pushing it." I'm like, we'll make it.
That's right. And I'm gonna hope that that town I get to has
That's a
gas.
gas station.
And there's that thrill, like
Yeah.
I'm doing it. I'm gonna be a daredevil. We're gonna make this happen. Hell or high water. There's that
I
thrill
love
about
it.
it. and you're right in the mix, right in there with those people that are. Obviously, I don't have a house that's been damaged, but you're going through the chaos that they're going through as well, in
Mm-hmm.
a sense, but in a much smaller degree.
Mm-hmm.
But there's that thrill. I'm here. We're gonna make it out.
Mm-hmm.
So I really enjoy that. I've the cat adjusting I enjoy more than the desk adjusting because there's I get to go out
Nice.
into that world
Yeah,
of
that's
wild.
beautiful, man. And what about the gratitude from the people that you're serving?
Oh, oh yeah, oh
You
yes,
know?
absolutely. They want to give you. It's interesting. I was afraid initially because I thought, well, oh no, I'm gonna uh, uh, go into a disaster zone and people are going to be up in arms and they're going to look at me as a threat.
Hmm.
And I think what prompted that is I saw some signs. Do not enter here. Do not park here.
Yeah.
Off
No
limits.
trespassing.
No trespassing. And people were like nailing these boards up against their house and stuff like that. I was like,
Me
oh
and my dog are both armed.
yeah, me and my dog are armed. And I don't know what that was about. I thought, oh, the whole town is gonna be
Yeah.
they're gonna take my ladder and my truck.
Who is this stranger?
But that wasn't the case at
Yeah.
all. They wanted to offer me water and a sandwich, and
Yep.
and one
Yep.
guy offered me a map because he said, "Hey, take this map. Make sure you don't get lost because there was no GPS signal." And
Oh,
everyone
wow.
was
I
very
love
kind.
it. Hmm.
Then working in the field as daily adjuster
Hmm.
is really an opportunity to grow
Hmm.
because you get to experience all types of houses, not just and well that all types of houses, but all types of people in all types of situations with all types of perils or all types of losses.
Right,
And
because a hurricane hits and it's like similar damage, similar damage, similar damage, similar damage.
right.
But a daily, it could be water heater breaks, kitchen fire, something like that. So you kind of have to figure it out as you go along. And not that a cat is easier, but typically again, you're looking at roof damage, you're looking at, fencing, siding, those type of things. But daily, you don't know what you're gonna get.
Daily is like going on a blind date. That's what I think it is. You
Man,
have
I'm
no
gonna
idea
steal that from you. That's beautiful. I'm gonna steal that from you. That's awesome.
you don't know what you're gonna get. And then the last one is now I've gotten into is loss control, and that's an opportunity for me to now hopefully get into more commercial
Mm,
aspects and components. Now, I think this is important. It's an opportunity to help protect two entities, but really help, I think, overall the insurance company, the principal, help protect them and help them make their decision on their underwriting decisions on how things are one going with the person that they're covering the and then make the decision if there are any hazards or risks that can
hmm.
be prevented, what can be done in advance before a loss does occur. And
Wow.
oftentimes uh,
Interesting.
hazards can be some hazards can be mitigated, and anyone in the insurance game uh, hopefully can recognize some hazards can be transferred.
Hmm.
Some risks, I should say, can be
Yeah.
transferred from me maybe as an owner to an organization as an insurance company. I
Hmm.
would rather transfer the financial risk off of
Right.
myself to somebody else and pay them a portion,
Yep.
financial portion for them to pay, whatever, if
Hmm.
there was an event, or some risks can be mitigated, some hazards and risks can be mitigated, or some risks just aren't even worth it. Don't even
Yeah.
get involved with that risk.
Yeah.
So doing that work is helpful for the insurance company to, if I
Hmm.
go in and investigate, I can let them know, is this risk worth having? Is this risk worth mitigating? or is this worth
Or
the
should we not
risk?
even get involved?
Not get involved with
Yeah,
this.
yeah. That's great, man. So, desk adjusting, cat field adjusting, loss control, you know, you've done exactly what I tell people to do in the sense of diversification when it comes to adjusting. And, a great story that I heard recently was about, I went through Hurricane Irene when I was in Miami in school. I mean, I've been through a bunch of hurricanes, and Irene it wasn't a major hurricane. I think it was in 2000. I don't remember, but it was going out east to the ocean and did this weird like U-turn and went poof and it hit us. And it was mainly flood. There was a lot of flood. And that had been a quiet year for adjusters. And I wasn't in the industry just yet as far as adjusting goes. But this person was telling me, yeah, I had done all these different things. I had done CAD, I had done auto, I had done flood, I had done, and then I had these friends that all they did was wind and hail. And they were doing wind and hail, wind and hail, and they were, very successful. But it was a slow wind and hail season. And when Hurricane Irene hit, they were like, well, we want to do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. I look at this track record that I have of being a great adjuster. But all they had done was wind and hail. And so what the adjusting firm said, you're great, but we're going to give it to those people that have diversified and maybe did a little property over here and maybe did, something over here and also have flood in their resume, even if it wasn't for a long time. And those are the people that got work then. And so, yes, you could be the wind and hail expert, but I think diversifying makes more sense, especially when you do desk and field, cat, and daily. I mean, your resume right now, you can pretty much do whatever you want. So great job doing that, man. That's great. That's a great. You got a good resume going. Alrighty, so let's talk about what's most important. So, second baby here yet? No.
Second baby is on the way.
Second baby is on the way. I know. I remember when we first talked, and I told you, yeah, I got 9 kids under the age 18. I was like, hello, Ryan. Tell me how it has affected your family life. And I don't know your wife, but she sounds like my wife, who's very supportive and wants you to succeed. Is that advice that she gave you was career changing. So that's great. But tell me a little bit how this industry and this new career that you've been in for the last 2 years, how it has affected your family life and how are things going?
Sure. It has the effects on my family life is as follows. One, my wife trusts that this is a good move and good option for me. She supports me in that, and my wife is a person that supports.
That's wonderful.
How is it affecting us? Number one is it allows us at times to make a large sum of money, but not consistently. So it definitely makes certain that we have to be wise when we have a lot of money and be conservative. And
I think my wife uses the word budgeting.
yes, that's right. We certainly have to be very conservative
Good.
when I'm not making paychecks. One of the benefit is I was able to put at one time $10,000, just write that check for my house, and that was fun.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
$1,000. I just
That's
got
awesome.
done with a deployment. I'm gonna write. I'm just gonna grab some money and throw it at the house.
That's awesome.
I still have other money to do other things. We just keep
Yeah,
on
yeah.
going. But now we're at the conservative time. I have to be very conservative. But once some more work comes in, we're gonna have more fun. But we have to be conservative, and it waves.
It ebbs and flows. Yep, I say that all the time. It ebbs and flows, and you have to be careful. You can make a great amount of money in a short period of time, but then you have the rest of the year.
That's right. That's exactly right. Now, my wife wants to leave her job, and she's planning to in December when our baby is due. To be born, and I'm going to be the main income earner, and we feel confident that not only will I be the main income earner, but we'll have the ability to provide for all of our needs and continue to grow our family. But it's going to
Wonderful.
take work. Somebody said that this isn't passive income. It is sure not. What I've
It's
learned,
very active.
yeah, absolutely. What I've learned, in order to be adjuster, you have to work hard. You have to be willing to work hard.
Hmm.
Even when you're doing the work, it's hard work. You've
Hmm.
got to be rough, put up those letters, get up when it's hot,
That's
get up
right.
early in the morning, work at times late at night, put in those hard hours.
Yeah.
But how's it been for our family? There's been times when I've gone many months where I don't have to work, or when I do, it's a few jobs scattered between,
Yeah.
and I get to spend a lot of time at home, doing things with my family, doing things with with my child, with my wife, and then I have moments of just unlimited. It seems like almost unlimited amount of work,
Yep.
and it ebbs and flows like that.
Yeah. Yep.
Now,
Yeah. And it's interesting because, there's so many men in the adjusting industry that I know, and there's plenty of women, and we're gonna have some women on pretty soon. But it's just interesting how often I've heard that there are these periods, maybe 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks where you're just working it because that storm hit and you're working it and you're working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you're working it and you're FaceTiming with your family and those type of things. But you made this big chunk of money, and then you have 2 or 3 months where you kind of get up and you're like, yeah, I'm going to see what's available. But why don't we go to the park, in the
yeah,
middle of the day, in the middle of the day, or, why don't we, take 3 days to go here, and so, yeah, you give some things up, but there's a lot of good rewards for your family. Again, it's not your typical Monday through Friday. Maybe you can make every soccer game, but there's going to be sacrifices for short periods of times. But there's going to be some great rewards for some other periods where you have great quality time on a Wednesday morning.
that's right.
Because you're not out there working. Man, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for being here. So you created an LLC, and it's called.
Big Tex Adjusting.
Man, you people in Texas, everything is big over there. And I remember I was in the Adjuster Pro booth at NAC, and I looked down the line. I'm like, here comes Ryan. Why? Show us, Ryan. Show us
All
that
right, all right, all right, all right.
hat.
You asked me to bring this. This is the reason why.
Yeah, there you go. Man, I tell you, you look good, man. You look good. That says that. I mean, all you need is like a steak on a barbecue, man.
Oh yeah,
I tell you, you were wearing that at NACA everywhere. I could see you coming from a mile away, but it just goes to show, just your personality and how outgoing you are. And I just want to say, man, that I'm very proud of you. Very proud of what you've accomplished. Your positive, mentality, your energy, the way you go after things, the way you listen. My new brand is the Adjuster Coach. And coaching people, sometimes is difficult because people don't listen and are not coachable. But you did everything that I suggested you do, and every time you saw an opportunity, you took it. And I'm so grateful that it's been such a great second career for you. Thank you very much for being here with us today, Ryan. And I look forward to hearing more success from you later on. We'll bring you back next season. All right, brother? Ryan, thank you so much for being here and giving us a true behind-the-scenes look at the life of a new adjuster. Although 2 years seems like a lot, that's fairly new. And there's so many lessons to be learned, but I think the key words are perseverance, focus, and active listening. So it's great to have you on here. Thank you so much for all those lessons. You can find Ryan on LinkedIn, Ryan Sorenson, Sorenson. Just like his career came about through mentoring, he's very generous with his time and information, so reach out to him. And of course, please subscribe and review and share this podcast. Would love to have many more people that are interested in becoming adjusters listen to us. And coming up on episode 5, a young lady, her name is Natalie Arroyave. That's how you say it. I know her friends say Arroyave. But Natalie Arroyave, who has been an adjuster for over 13 years and hosts the Adjuster Hour on LinkedIn. We're going to get a lot of great nuggets from her on our next episode. Hey guys, this episode was supported by Adjuster Pro, your trusted resource for insurance adjuster licensing and training. Whether you're just starting out or you need continuing education, Adjuster Pro offers everything you need to meet your licensing requirements with confidence. As a special thank you to our listeners, you can go to www.adjusterpro.com/Pablo and use the discount code Pablo5 for 5% off any course and no taxes. Again, Pablo5 for 5% off any of our courses, and it won't charge you taxes. Now, if you have any questions or guidance, feel free to reach out directly. My contact details are below. You can always email me to theadjustercoach@gmail.com. And quickly before we wrap up, if you're ready to take your adjusting career to the next level, check out my coaching services at theadjustercoach.co, theadjustercoach.co. Don't just get licensed, get coached and get deployed.